Welcome to Recycle Now Paducah. My name is Johanna Rhodes. I'm a business owner in Paducah and a proponent of recycling, and we have with us today the man who started recycling in Paducah, Merle Paschedag, who is the director of GPS. And I guess first, Merle, what is GPS?
Thank you, Johanna. GPS stands for Greater Paducah Sustainability. It's a project which we initiated called Recycle Now to get recycling in Paducah.
How did all of this get started? It's your brainchild, but how did you come up with it, and what were the first things that you did?
Well, when I first got here in Paducah about 3 years ago, I wanted to recycle, and I was just amazed that there was no formal recycling. There were companies who took recycled materials such as paper and metal, but I couldn't get rid of plastic or glass or tin cans, and I was doing that where I used to live, and just thought, today it's 2006 whenever I started doing this, and we ought to be recycling. So I started doing it behind my house.
And what did you start with? What were you taking at that point?
Well, the only thing I could move was paper and aluminum. So I started filling a small trailer behind my garage with our recyclables and offered it to my neighbors. And we started filling the trailer. I took it out once a month, and I partnered with Mason's Recycling. They very easy to work with and treated me right, so I started taking all my recyclables there. And then my neighbors started filling my trailer more than once a month, and I was doing it weekly, and decided, well, there's enough interest, maybe we can do something larger than the neighborhood.
And so that's when GPS started.
Yes, I started finding more and more people were interested in recycling, and we started meeting regularly, and GPS grew out of that initiative.
And when did you start having the monthly drives at the Kroger parking lot here in Paducah on Park Avenue?
We started last Earth Day. That was April 2007. Prior to that, we organized in February and decided our first event should be something significant like Earth Day. So we planned for it. We did. We partnered, got trailers, and advertised, and started Recycle Now.
How many tons at this point? Talk us through the growth of GPS and the recycling movement.
Well, the first event, we had something like 100 cars, and we filled two semis with recycled material. We weren't taking glass at that time. And a year later, we had 810 cars, and we filled 5.5 semi-trailers. So we have grown tremendously in the last 13 months. We are a membership-based organization, but it doesn't mean you have to be a member to recycle. It's just that's how we support ourselves and pay for advertising and stuff like that. But we started with maybe 50 after Earth Day, and now we're up to 600. And our goal is 1,000 for this year.
So how have you reached out to others to try to get them involved?
Well, I do presentations. I've talked to the City Commission, been on TV a few times, articles in the newspaper. It's word of mouth. We did put a lot of flyers out through the Kroger grocery store on Park Avenue, who let us use their parking lot for these monthly drop-offs.
All right, let's talk about the kinds of things that you collect. Obviously, people think of paper and cardboard and that sort of thing, but you brought some examples with us.
Yes, well, paper, let's talk about paper for a second. Paper, any paper product, cardboard, pasteboard like cereal boxes, cracker boxes, junk mail, even the stuff with that little plastic window in it is okay. Magazines, books, any type of paper product that's not oil soaked or food soaked. The next is aluminum cans. We take aluminum beverage cans. That's one of the products that does help fund our group, but we don't want people to change. If they're giving aluminum cans to other organizations for fundraisers, we want that to continue because it's satisfying the same purpose. We just want stuff that people are throwing away.
Well, stepping back just a second to the cardboard, you obviously don't want people bring big boxes to you. There's a certain way to get these ready for you.
To handle cardboard, sometimes it's best to cut it up or to break it down, at least from the boxes. You can use other boxes to fill your paper in, and that's okay. It's easy to handle, but if you have a lot of cardboard, it's easier to break it down so that we can handle it easier.
What about the plastics?
Plastics, a lot of people are used to recycling plastics in larger cities, all plastics. Unfortunately, we don't have a way of getting rid of all plastics, but we can take number 1 and number 2. For example, people may not realize, but something like this grape tomato can, plastic box, has a triangle on it, has a number 1. We'll take that. Number 1 and number 2 are the 2 numbers. Laundry detergent, these type bottles. Here's salad dressing, barbecue sauce.
I notice you don't have the caps on them.
No, the caps are not the same material as these. This is a milk carton, and notice that I rinsed it out and I just stepped on it, and it pretty much stays flat. Helps it easier to store. Same with water bottles and soft drink bottles.
So you would like people to bring these to you clean?
Yes, they do need to be rinsed out. I think nobody can argue that one of the worst smells is sour milk, it's very helpful to rinse them out. It allows the volunteers to actually get through the day without having too much problem.
And speaking of those volunteers, we have some photos that were taken at this last Earth Day event. So let's take a look at those before we talk to some of the other volunteers.
Yes.
We have some GPS volunteers here with us who would like to share their experiences. First, there is Janie Jones, Realtor, Kate Holstein, a member of the Heath High School Environmental Club, and Shelby Hastings, who is also a member of the Heath High School Environmental Club. First off, Janie, how did you get involved with GPS?
Well, I saw the ad in the paper in 2007 for Earth Day, and I went by and dropped my stuff off and became interested and talked to Merle, and then I've been a member ever since.
You coordinate a lot of the volunteer efforts.
Now I do, yes. We, by emails from our membership base.
You also, being a business, part of the business community, you're recycling at your business. What kinds of things can other business owners and people do at work?
Well, we found that most of us that are involved in recycling take it to where we work and to our homes. And so I'm a realtor with Caldwell Banker Realty Group, and 2 of our secretaries there had always recycled. They had the inkjet printer cartridges and the aluminum cans in the office that they gave to local area churches. And so when I got involved in GPS, we started doing the paper and we started doing the plastic water bottles, and we have several of the realtors that come to our recycling events with their home stuff too.
It takes a commitment. I know as a business owner myself, with the plastic cups and the newspapers and all of the junk mail and glass, it really does take an effort, but you really feel good about it.
Oh yes, I mean, people, we come out and we have a good time. It's something we're all passionate about, is recycling.
And the 2 members that we have from Heath High School here today, how did you get involved? Shelby?
Well, we met Merle in Paducah, and some of the other girls that were in the environmental club decided that we wanted to start something at Heath that involved recycling. And so we went to some of the events, and we really enjoyed recycling, so we started recycling.
Okay, so you are personally committed,
Yeah.
and also committed to helping at school. Kate, what sort of efforts are going on at school? What are you doing to recycle there?
Well, we started at the high school because that's where we go and it's easiest for us. We recycle paper, plastics, and aluminum at the high school. And then I'd say in January we started doing it at the Heath Elementary School, and we recycle plastics, aluminum, and paper over there. And then we plan on, at the beginning of next year, in August, of the next school year, we plan on starting at Heath Middle to do the same. So.
What do you do with everything that you come up with?
Well, we collect the high school recyclables on Mondays, and we store it in a room we have at the high school. And then on Fridays, we collect the elementary school recyclables, and my grandfather comes and picks it up with his really big pickup truck. And we take it all out to my house, where we store it in my garage until the GPS event. And then Merle comes out with his trucks, and we take it to the GPS event.
Shelby, what sort of response have you gotten from teachers at school? Have they been supportive of it?
Yeah, most of the teachers have made their boxes, like had them next to the door. They're really good about getting the kids to recycle. And yeah, that's been a good response with them.
Well, how do you feel about making other people aware of what we need to do to save the earth and recycle?
Well, especially with high schoolers, sometimes it's hard to get them motivated, so we try our best to get everybody aware. We made posters in the school, and I tell all my friends to recycle. So.
And you plan to continue yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
I know Kate does this at home. What sort of things can people do at home to recycle?
Well, I got started with my little sisters who go to the Heath Elementary School. And what I noticed about them was that they really enjoyed it. They would come to me all the time, Katie, can we recycle this? Katie, can we recycle that? And so I set up a little recycling center in my kitchen, and I let them decorate it with little signs and little posters telling everyone where to put stuff. And I think the big thing about home recycling is it's hard to find space. I'm lucky because I live out in the county, and so we have a big garage that I can store stuff in. But like Merle said earlier, it's all about utilizing your space and squashing your bottles and cans and stuff like that. So.
Would either of you like to say anything to encourage other school groups at other schools to do something?
It seems hard at first to start recycling, but once you get it going, people really respond, so just try.
And businesses too, right, Janie?
It takes, as they said, it takes a village. It takes all of us together, and like I said, you start at the office, the kids are starting at school and they're bringing it home, and and they're spreading it that way, and we spread it through the businesses that of the organizations like you. We're just passionate about it and want everyone to join in.
Well, we're going to talk to some other people in just a minute, talk about some youth group involvement. But first, let's take a look at the website information so that those people out there who would like to get in contact with GPS and would like to start recycling and volunteer, let's let them see what they need to do. This is Recycle Now Paducah, and we're back with Merle Paschedag, who's Director of GPS, Janie Jones, who is a volunteer coordinator, and we've added Eric Youngblood, who is the deacon and youth leader at the 9th Street Tabernacle Church. And Eric, you're here to talk to us about how your youth group got involved. How did you start out with recycling?
Well, I had the privilege of meeting Merle Paschedag, and we decided to collaborate on this event that they're holding downtown Paducah called Barbecue on the River, which is an annual event. And the event went so successfully that Mr. Merle, he ended up coming to our church and commending us with a plaque stating that in the 13 history of this event, this typical 7 year happened to be the cleanest of the event history. And with that in mind, and the inspiration that Merle inspired in me by coming to the church and letting the congregation know all about these issues, it inclined me and other members of our congregation, which are youth mostly, to come on out and be a part of the bigger picture.
What did your youth group do at Barbecue on the River?
Barbecue on the River, it was just being good stewards, making sure that our city was clean for the visitors that were in town that particular August when this event happened. But it was just a wonderful experience. And
obviously, this award made you feel really good, and must have made the youth feel very good. Did it inspire other youth to come out and volunteer to help you?
Yes, ma'am, it actually did. We had more volunteers than we knew what to do with at the time, and I didn't think that we were ready to bring them to the site base where we actually do our recycling, due to the fact that there are some do's and don'ts that the youth must learn before they become a part of this team. And I believe in the future that maybe Mr. Paschedag, Merle, maybe he's going to put together some kind of program as to where we can let our youth be more aware of the things that we do recycle. In other words, the do's and the don'ts of the game. So before we go any further with that, I believe we need to put that in place, and I'm sure Mr. Paschedag has something implemented for that. And at the same token, we're very interested in getting other churches involved in the community, because it is a wonderful thing to be involved with. There's so much diversity, and it's just a ball. We'll have a nice time together working in unity and harmony.
You said that this was really something that helped the youth learn how to work as a team, and also with other parts of the community maybe they might not be involved with otherwise.
Exactly. They get the opportunity to meet affluential business leaders and other people who help us all to run the city of Paducah. It's just a wonderful experience in general, and I feel as if it pulls us together other than divide us, because we begin to understand each other's cultures, our differences, and we all pull them together and we get the job done.
And isn't that great? Recycling is what is doing this. Well, Janie, with more volunteers, he's going to get all these other churches involved. That's going to help your efforts.
Oh, we can always use more volunteers. As Merle said, we started out with just a handful the first time, and the last event we had 75 to 80 volunteers. So each time we grow, we need more volunteers, which normally comes from our memberships.
And also volunteers, they can do other things other than just help collect all of these recyclables.
Oh, there's all kinds of jobs to do. Anybody that we can do stand and greet the people as they come in. Some of them empty cars, some of them sort the paper and everything from the other stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. Some people are good with computers, so we have them doing some computer work. I mean, you don't have to be at the event to volunteer.
And you need to get the word out too. So some of these people perhaps can, Merle's been going around talking to a lot of different organizations, so maybe some of the other people can do that as well.
Well, we usually try to bring friends when we come to the recycle event, and that's how the membership grows, partly from that, partly from us talking while we're working. Merle's out, doing seminars and stuff like that. So, I mean, we try to touch as many people as we can. And once we, if they're passionate about recycling, we've got them.
Okay, well, Merle, it seems like there are many more passionate people these days with with the number of cars that you're getting through. The organization is growing. Soon you're going to have some help from other sectors of the community. Has there been some governmental response to this?
Yes. We did a presentation to the City Commission earlier this year, and there was a grant offered through the state of Kentucky for recycled projects. We put together, in cooperation with the city and county, a plan to buy equipment for a new recycle site. We have also been awarded the use of a building which belongs to the Paducah Water Company, and we'll move there sometime in August and start doing our recycling drop-offs there. But the equipment that we need to do that has to come through grant money, and we did get the grant in time, and we're just waiting for the outcome.
What sort of response, other than support, of course, did you get from government leaders? I mean, is this thing growing? Is the recycling movement as you'd hoped?
I think individually, the city leaders all believe in recycling. It is a matter of the budget, but it's the right thing to do. So as we go along, I think more and more people being involved and voicing their opinions about recycling and starting to recycle at home and letting city and county leaders know that this is an important thing that people want. It's the right thing to do as Eric said, stewards of the earth, and we have a limited supply of resources. I think recycling gives people that opportunity to feel good about doing something for the environment on an individual basis, and it doesn't take much time out of their day.
Would you have thought 2 years ago that you would be at this point now?
No, I didn't. I was just an individual trying to recycle, and I guess I just couldn't take no for an answer.
Well, what are your hopes for the future? What do you hope to see eventually in Paducah and McCracken County?
GPS Recycle Now has what we call a green roadmap. We're going to be holding more events. We're going to, when we move to the new facility, we want to open up for twice a month drop-off. One of the things that's the hardest that our members say is storing recycled material for a month waiting for the drop-off. So shortening that to every 2 weeks will make it much easier, and we'll get more people to drop off. We have an initiative to do a citywide survey. We're putting together information just to see what the community's feeling is, and 100% survey is the only way to actually get a good pulse of what people want to do as far as recycling. And we plan on doing more presentations. Our hopes is that we can partner with schools and help them set up recycle programs, partner with businesses to help them start recycling, and even do community info sessions, like to answer the questions like, how do I start recycling? It just seems too big. And our answer to that is just start with one thing. If you just start recycling your junk mail, when it comes in and you don't want it, put it in a paper bag and then bring it to us during drop-off days, and then you'll find out that it's not as hard as it seems. And pretty much everybody who starts with one item grows to where they're recycling as much as they can after 3 to 6 months.
You're talking about partnering with other businesses and individuals in the community. What sort of efforts have you made in that direction so far?
Well, one of the biggest problems is helping businesses, because they don't have storage space for their recyclables, especially cardboard. It takes up a lot of space. So we're actually working with a couple small businesses to try to figure out strategies on handling that cardboard on a weekly basis like they would their trash. A lot depends on how much grant we get and how much and the facility that we can handle that type of commitment. But it's all part of communicating and getting the conversation started with businesses to find out what their needs are. Every business is different, but the space seems to be the one common factor.
All right, and schools also, you're getting some response from schools?
Yes, school activities. We've been teaching about environmental issues and recycling for 20 years. And a lot of communities have put into practice recycle programs. Well, it should be that way for all communities. teaching doesn't stop at the classroom. It's reinforced by actually doing. And for young people to learn about recycling and not be able to practice it doesn't fulfill that one area of education.
And we all know that when habits start at a young age, they're carried through a lot more.
Yes, they are.
All right, let's go back and to remind people about what you take at these drop-off days and how they need to package their recyclables.
Like I was saying earlier, cardboard boxes should be broken down if possible, and some can be used to fill with other cardboard. Paper products, if you shred your sensitive material, we'll take the shred, but it does need to be put in a plastic bag to hold it, to keep from blowing around as litter. The plastic can be processed out of the paper. Tin cans should be rinsed. They can be smashed if you want, and they can be delivered in plastic bags as well. Loose material is hard to handle, so it's just necessary to use plastic and cardboard and paper bags to handle it. Glass containers, take the lids, throw them in with the tin, and rinse the glass out, bring it to us. If you separate the glass, clear glass, we separate it at the drop-off site. Clear glass does have more value than colored glass does. Aluminum cans, if you can, rinse them out. They can be smashed, or they can be just as they are and delivered in whatever container is convenient. And plastic again, number 1 and number 2. And just for those who don't know, the 2 numbers mean the type of plastic they are. And the number 1 and number 2 are the easiest products to process back into usable plastic.
And the newspapers, they need to be bound if possible, or put in one of those
Newspapers,
boxes.
or in bags, or in boxes. It's just the loose paper is harder to handle. So stacks of magazines can be put in bags or boxes or bound. It's easier to unload a car when everything's contained than it is if it's all loose.
All right, well, thank you very much, and we'd like to commend you for your efforts on recycling in Paducah. And we'd like to remind the public, if they would like to get involved, let's go to the website. And thanks again, Merle.
Thank you.
Thank you.